Hi, my name's Katie Dwight, and we wanted to tell you a little bit about what happened here during the fire on August 19th. Our farm was surrounded on 3 sides by the fire. You can see on the hillside the black, and it's black like that all around the hills around us. And it was only because of the firefighters that came here and worked on fire that's really the reason that our animals were saved, as well as our house and red. Unfortunately, we got damage to our big barn. It's pretty severely damaged. The walls, it has 10 stalls, and a lot of them are severely damaged. The plumbing is destroyed, and the electrical is destroyed. But we have been told that it's going to be, they can save it, they can rebuild it. And hopefully we'll have a new barn by December or January. We've had to move the cows and goats out of that barn, and so they're now sharing space in our red barn, which is a smaller barn, but they're coexisting. Each have their own stalls. It's a little crowded, but it'll be fine until we can get our big barn working again later at the end of the year.
Do you want to say something about the evacuation?
Yeah, so on August 19th, we were here late at night. It was very hot. We were taking care of the animals, making sure they were cool. And we got a sheriff came by and told us we had a half an hour to evacuate. So we were panicked, and because we have 40 animals, and it's very unlikely we could get all those animals in trailers and trucks before, in a half an hour. So we just started working on it. We first started loading our cows. We have 3 cows. We could only get one of our cows in the trailer. The other 2 just would not go, and there was no way we could force them in. We didn't have time to cajole and work with them on getting in, so we just moved on to our pigs and goats. We weren't able to get our pigs in. We were able to get 5 goats into the back of our pickup truck, but we have 2 more baby goats, and they always run away from us, and there was no way we were going to catch them. And so we decided to take their mother goat out of the pickup truck and leave them with her, with the 2 babies, so they might have some chance of surviving the fire. We opened all the gates. We got the chickens and our pets. We have 3 cats, a dog, and a turtle. And we spent about an hour and a half loading animals. And at that time, the sky was glowing red. And I was just panicked because we live at the end of a 1-lane road, that if something happened to that lane, if a tree fell or whatever, we'd be blocked. So I just said we have to go. But we were devastated to leave the rest of our animals. And we didn't know where we were going to go. We were going to decide to drive to a friend's house who has a small sanctuary. But fortunately, we called Monica Stevens at Jameson Ranch, and she was able to get us to contact some people and got us a place at Charlie's Acres, which turned out to be a godsend, and that's where we spent the next month until we just returned this past weekend. While I was taking the animals to Charlie's Acres that night, Megan turned around and joined someone who had volunteered to help us return to the farm, hopefully to get our animals. But it turned out firefighters arrived and they wouldn't let us back down our road until the next day, the next afternoon. And at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we were finally allowed back to our property, and we had no idea the state of the property, how the animals were doing. We were just anguished about it all day. But we came back here and we found that all the animals were okay, and that was an enormous relief, as you could imagine. So we returned to the farm here last weekend. on Saturday, and the animals are doing great. They seem really happy to be back. And we want to introduce you to some of our animals. So Megan's gonna take that over.
Hey friends. Oh, hi. This is Tom. He's a very sweet animal. And he's actually a pink pig, but loves to be in the mud. And he and two of his others.
Oh, we have fingers in the way of Tom. There we go.
Hi.
So sorry, I had to adjust.
So Tom is about, he's just over a year old. He clocks in at almost 400 pounds. He's a farm pig, so he'll grow for the next couple of years, but he won't get more than 500 pounds. He and two of his friends were rescued from the PNW 250 pig rescue, and it was a hoarding situation up in Oregon, and a bunch of sanctuaries got together and rescued over 250 pigs from a really terrible situation. And these three boys were our very first rescues. We'd never had any farm animals before. We'd done a lot of reading and studying, but there's nothing quite like figuring out how to care for a pig than actually caring for a pig. We soon after that got some chickens, quickly put our studying to practice with the chickens, rescued from a pasture-raised egg farm. They are black Australorps. And then after that, we got Olivia pig, who is full of personality. Right now, she's up in the bushes, so I don't know if she'll come out and say hello again, but I hope she does. Olivia is a Yorkshire pig. She is one of these giant, will be one of these giant, watch out for your finger, giant 800 to 1,000 pound pigs. And it looks like she might have jumped off a transport truck. She was found on the side of the highway. And I've had a lot of people ask me, hi, good boy. I've had a lot of people ask me, how does she get out of the transport truck? Who knows? This kind of thing happens all the time, all over the country. She was very lucky. She didn't, break any bones. She was very healthy, was not claimed at the shelter. And so we were able to take her in. And only recently have we introduced her to the rest of the boy pigs. And now they are their own group. And Charlie's Acres actually helped with that, because a lot of our animals who were otherwise separated had to get up close and personal. In addition to the pigs, which have very big personalities, we have 3 steers, 1 year or younger. We have 21 chickens, half of which are leghorns from an ex-battery egg factory. They have some reproductive issues. We have one actually going in for surgery next Wednesday for impaction in her oviduct. Oh, hello, I love you. And then we have 6 goats. And these goats are they're Nigerian dwarf goats, and they're from dairies, rescued from dairies. The male goat that we have, Teddy, he and his girl, Meg, I think he smells the carrots in my pocket, were actually belonging to somebody who was lactose intolerant but really wanted goat milk. And so she just was kind of like a backyard breeder and got goat milk that way for her friends and family. And when she had to move, she needed to find them a new home. We were only going to take Teddy, but then when we found out about Meg and their 2 babies, we decided to keep the family together. So it feels really nice to have Meg, Teddy, and their kids. There's Luther. He got a little snack from the bushes up above, as there wants. I'm going to see if he would like a carrot, and then he can go back to his branch later. Oh, okay. So that's the goats. The cows are, 2 of them are dairy cows, male dairy cows, considered not useful in a dairy. Costs more to raise them and feed them. And so they were rescued and rehabilitated. Both were very sick. Han, who maybe we can go out and see Han. We can go out that way maybe. He had retracted tendons for the first month of his life, and he couldn't stand. And he was at a sanctuary up in Oregon who did physical therapy on him every single day for a month until he could stand on his own. And now he's the leader of the herd. Do you want to go out and see the...
Yeah, let's go out and see the cows and goats.
Does anybody have any questions? This is a very fluffy pig stall. They sleep most of their time outside, but it's starting to get cooler, so I imagine they will be sleeping inside a lot more. That's Teddy, Papa Goat, and Honey over here is from a dairy down in Southern California, and her daughter Snowflake is also with us. But right behind her is Finn. He is an 11-month-old steer, found again on the side of the highway, presumably near some veal and meat farms, and he is very handsome. He's also a big troublemaker, but being very young, all of our cows are about the same age, and so they are very, very connected with each other. Finn was the one cow that agreed to go in the trailer, and when we separated him from Han, who's coming up here on, right here, when they were separated, Finn was inconsolable. Their bond is very, very strong. And over here is Tony. We called him a tiny tot. He's a Jersey, and he's a smaller breed than the other two, but he is extra small because he was so sick as a baby and didn't get all the nutrition he needed. Some misguided individuals thought that they could help, and unfortunately weren't able to, and so they asked some sanctuaries to step in, or some people to step in and help. And we welcomed the cows, most of the goats, the chickens, to our sanctuary last March. Oh, and I don't want to disturb this. This is Meg and her son, Biscuit. And they are often found cheek to cheek. It's very sweet. I wonder if I can zoom in on that. Zoom can't zoom. But they're often lying together. It's very sweet. It's hard to kind of tell them apart now. Anyway, Katie maybe can pan around so you can see the parts of the sanctuary that did not burn. Definitely, this only exists and our animals are only alive because the firefighters came and held the fire at bay. We're very happy to be home and have had some wonderful volunteers come and help get this back to a place, repair a few fences, put up some temporary fences so that we could all come home and yeah, continue rebuilding. Does anybody have any questions?
Where exactly are you guys?
We're located in Vacaville,
Okay.
half between San Francisco and Sacramento.
Got it.
If anybody would be interested in volunteering, you can go contact us either on Facebook or through our website. That's herdandflockanimalsanctuary.org. And we'd love to have you. We'd love to meet you and introduce you to these very special beings. Hi, Meg. Hi.
What does it cost you to feed all your animals per day or per week?
So each month we spend about $1,300 in food and bedding.
Good.
And so we have about 35 farm animals right now. Many of them are younger, so they are eating for growing and becoming big, strong adults. So it might taper off, but by that point, we'll probably take on some more animals. So
Yeah.
I don't expect that number to go down at all.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing really is the medical care. So we have a vet who comes out as needed. Will come vaccines and boosters. But if there are any problems that we can't do ourselves, we have somebody who can come out on site.
You might have said this at the beginning, but what did you lose in the fire? You lost a barn?
Yeah, we lost about between 3,000 and 4,000 feet of fences. And our big barn, which is a 10-stall steel barn, was burned. Many of the panels, this corner looks pretty good. This corner of the barn did not burn, but many of the panels inside did and need to be replaced.
Got it.
The
It's
smoke
the structure
alone,
behind the trees there?
yeah, right behind the trees, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, the smoke damage alone is $50,000, and the repairs are estimated to be about $75,000. And so we're still waiting to hear if and what part, if maybe all of our insurance will cover that. We did have insurance on the house, on the farm, but yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to have insurance after this, but I hope we do. So we're still waiting to hear what the result of that will be. So it's definitely not usable at the moment.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if nobody else has questions, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Chris.
Thank you so much, Megan and Katie. This has been just a really eye-opening experience to not only see like how impacted you were, but how quickly everybody can bounce back from such a tragedy. It's amazing. And it's amazing that it wasn't more devastating.
Absolutely. No, we are so lucky. Katie mentioned we're on a 1-lane gravel road. It's about 1.5 2-mile road, and two of the houses here burned. So our neighbors lost
Wow.
and so we're at the very end, and so we were at the end of where the fire was going to go. And we were really surprised when we got here to see that it actually burned all the hills on all three sides. And we feel so grateful that we were able to, have a place for the animals and for ourselves. We feel very lucky. I don't know if you know this, but there are 3 other animal sanctuaries in Vacaville. And that's Funky Chicken, Zinger Ranch, and Lucky Ones. And unfortunately, Lucky Ones lost everything. Their animals are safe, and they are safe, but they don't actually have a sanctuary to go back to. And really can really understand the trauma and the anguish that can come with something like that, and want to be able to help them to get what they need in order to care for all of their beings.
Thank goodness they didn't lose anybody. It's such a shame that they lost their sanctuary, though.
Yeah. Some things to be very grateful for.
I love how in Northern California in particular, all of the sanctuaries really seem to be working together and supporting each other in this time of need.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for participating today, Megan and Katie. We really appreciate it. And best of luck getting the barn rebuilt. And we'll check back in with you in a couple weeks for World Veg Fest.
Thank you so much for working with us.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll check back in soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, welcome, Erica. Everyone, this is Erica Rushing from Flatbroke Farm. And as you heard, she has helped a lot of folks during not only this fire season, but many fire seasons. She is very experienced in dealing with these disasters. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Erica.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, as mentioned, my name is Erica, and I am the founder and director of Flatbroke Farm Animal Rescue here in Sonoma County. We have been saving animals for about 16 years, going on 17, and we have, unfortunately, a lot of experience with disasters. This particular disaster, I don't think we could encompass as a single one. There was just so many fires at the same time, but I'm counting it as one. And that makes 17 disasters that we've worked, both floods and there was a small earthquake that we worked, and mostly, unfortunately, wildfires, as we tend to have here. So, you know, that experience is invaluable. And then, of course, the length of time that I've been operating the organization. And I've had animals since I could remember. I got my first horse when I was 3. So I've got, you know, 35 years of animal experience. So applying that to what we do here is really important. And as mentioned, all of us organizations are working together and for the animals, and it's enabling us to do 10 times more for them. And the work is greater, and the compassion is there. And so the goal is to save and support as many animals as possible. And we're breaking records every year by uniting and coming together in circumstances like this. So thanks for joining me here at the farm. I'm sitting in front of our chicken coop here that we built. I'll step back so you can see it. And I might have to turn the camera around and see if I can remember this. Bear with me. I don't know how to do it. It's not working.
There should be a little.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Ta-da! Okay, so this is one of our chicken coops. This was built by like myself and some teenage girls that were here volunteering out of mostly, you know, reused things. And this coop and the big yard behind it pretty much house all of our permanent residents. And then we have 7 barns on 4 acres that we, you know, utilize. So here's another coop. These guys have been let out for the day. We do rotations, so everybody gets lots of free roaming time. So our organization isn't technically a sanctuary. We do have some sanctuary animals, but we are more of a community support rescue. So we do rehoming into carefully screened homes. We have adopted out over 4,500 animals in the county, and we have kept track of every single one of them, which is pretty incredible. This is our garden, one of our 2 gardens. We grow the majority of our food for the animals, all organic, and that cuts on costs. And you can see our owl box there in the background. We have 3 owl boxes to help with organic rodent situations and working hand in hand with wildlife organizations. So I guess let's start in barn A here. This is our main original barn. Keep in mind we've only been here a few years, so we're still developing and building, but this is where we store our hays, our beddings, our feeding supplies and grains and supplements, storage cabinets, and we've got the 3 chickens here. This is Loretta, Lynn, and their boyfriend Robin Hood. They were from that coop that I mentioned was just let out. And we can come in here and say hi to Freedom. Hi, Freedom. Freedom is one of our bigger pigs. Hi, 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 hi. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Yes. So she came in actually as a stray from Highway 101. She escaped from the slaughterhouse because she was a wise girl and an acrobat somehow, and then was discovered hitchhiking on the freeway. And so animal control called us in, and we worked with Jameson Animal Rescue Ranch to get her and support her. She loves those booty scratches. And she's an absolute love. You can see that she's had many litters of piglets. We don't know why or how she landed where she was, but she didn't want to be there and clearly had more to give. And so she's our ambassador. She teaches everybody about how amazing these big pigs can be. Yeah. And how kind and gentle they are no matter what conditions they've been through. Animals are so forgiving, and they live in the moment, which is, you know, something I think we all need to learn how to do better as human beings. And so we always kind of take that, all the advice and support we get from the animals, you know, they teach us so much. So it's a good girl. So that's Freedom, who made her own freedom, and she's a permanent resident here. We have guesstimated her to be about 7 years old, and she's been with us for 3 years. And she is about 900 pounds. And she has a big fluffy stall and an outdoor run with a pond to swim in. And up. These side stalls we all built with some more teenage kids. We love teaching kids how to do stuff. And looks like every single pig in here is out sunbathing, because that is the time of the day to be sunbathing. Okay, every single pig. But so they have a feeder that's hand built, their beds, and then outdoor runs. Our pigs live individually unless they come in as pairs, because they develop such strong bonds with each other that if someone wants to come and adopt just one pig, that would be really unfair to both of them. So we are sort of like a shelter in that way, that we want the animals to find homes unless they're perfect for a sanctuary. We work with the sanctuaries all the time. So I'm going this stall here. So these 3 goats came in working with another organization as well, Genevieve's Gentle Hearts. She did a huge rescue from Southern California, and it's okay, don't be scared. So they just got here a couple of weeks ago, and this girl here is older. They all have pretty poor conformation and underbites, and things like that, some disabilities. The one in the background right there has 3 legs and has had an amputation, but she gets around just fine. And these guys have all been checked in, and they came with bugs and really long feet and parasites and ugh. So, but they're doing much better. And you can see 3-legger gets along quite well. She's fast too when she wants to be. So they are all going to go to their new home in probably a few weeks after they've done their 30 days of quarantine. And let's see here. I know you look like you're smiling because of your underbite. And another facet of our business is boarding. So we do board animals for people who are, let's see if we can call Hank over. Hank! Hank! Come here, Hank! Hi, Hank. Hi, Hank. Hi, buddy. So Hank is being boarded here. His family lost their home. And so he's going to stay with us until they can find a new home. Hey, Hank, can you sit? Can you give me a twirl? Oh, what a smart piggy. Good boy. I know I don't have any goodies for you. No goodies. Sorry. I'll be back later with those. We carry multiple varieties of hays and grains and feeds because we have so many animals on different feeds. We have multiple different types of trailers and trucks to tow them for different circumstances, tractors, and all of our stalls we've custom built. So these are really thick gauge. They actually go into the ground over a foot. The center board is mounted lower than center, so when they push or headbutt, and everything has been stained and should last a very long time. And we have some other creatures over here. This is typically our quarantine stall. So we are very adamant about accurately quarantining animals so that they don't get anybody else sick, and so we can get to know them. Okay, hi, you cuties. So these 2 cuties came in just a few days ago, and so they are doing their time, and then they'll go out to the big pastures. And here is one of our horses. Get up! Get up! Hi. Hi. Happy to see us. Are you munching on some foods out there? Yes. So this is Nevada. She's 29 years old, and she's actually my personal horse. I got her for my 12th birthday, and I've had her for, well, 27 years. So now you know how old I am. So probably best if I hop in the cart to show you the rest of the critters, because they're all up towards the fronts. Oh, but we have Chloe and Stewie. So Chloe and Stewie. Hi, Chloe. Hi, Chloe. Hi, Chloe. Hi. Hi. So, have you been digging in the dirt? You silly piggy. Hey, Stu. Hi, Stu Boo. So these 2 came from the Tubbs fire. Well, specifically Stewie here. He lost his home in that fire in 2017, and because we do boarding, long-term and short-term, to support the community, to allow people to keep their animals and pets that they love and adore, even during adverse circumstances. So his family comes and visits them all the time. And because we knew he was going to be here for a long time, because of having to rebuild and how long that typically takes, we paired him up with a girlfriend whom the family has agreed to adopt. So these two pastures are full of boarders and fire animals and some adoptees. So after animals come out of quarantine, they actually come into these larger pastures and have some community living while they wait for whatever it is they're waiting for. This entire crew, hi guys. Hi. So this entire crew came from the Kincaid fire, which I think was about 10 months ago. And their family has decided not to stay living in that area because it's just so dangerous and prone to fires. And it was terrifying having to evacuate. And so they are being boarded here in lieu of whatever they decide to do. I think they're gonna probably purchase another farm in another spot. No jumping. Yeah. So all 4 of these goats came from the auction yard. They're all from the dairy industry. They're all boys. And the 3 sheep came from 4-H. They were slaughter bound at the fairgrounds. And so they're all super friendly, obviously. I can't keep you away. Yes, you're gonna love on us. Look at that face. Okay, guys. So we try to irrigate a portion of every pasture. So there's a little green grass at least in every portion. And hopefully as the years progress, we can start to have it fully irrigated, because that's also safer for fire situations. This is our goats' play yard. So the goats get turned out here to jump on the jungle gym and play around. And there's quite a variety of goaties in here just doing their fun stuff. And then we'll go see Oops. What are you talking about? You got so much to say. Talking up a storm. So yeah, we'd like to have this pasture fully irrigated by next year. Potentially put pumpkins and squash in here. We did manage to irrigate this entire pasture this year. This is our fruit grove. We've got quince and apples and plums and apricots. We have over 45 trees, fruit trees, and 11 different berry varieties. And these are the sheep. Here comes the IDUs next. Yes. So the majority of these sheep came from a wool spinner who unfortunately got ocular cancer and couldn't have her sheep anymore. And so they're all very friendly. Hi. Some of them came from other circumstances. I know we do have 2 fire sheep in here. Hi, Forrest. Hi, Forrest. Hi, Britt. So everyone's got names. This one's cleaning hay off of the other one, which I always think is so cute. It's like, oh, I'll clean you up. Hi, Roan. This used to be a very aggressive ram, and he's really come a long way. He's getting friendlier and wants to be involved. And this is Donut. Hi, Donut. His name is Duncan, really, but I call him Duncan Donut. Yes, he got the itches. Oh, feels so good. The majority of these sheep are available for adoption, and the majority of people adopt sheep for, keeping the grass down. As you can see, it is non-existent in this particular pasture, and we rotate them around to various pastures consistently. Hey, Mama, you got dirty nose. Hi, Duncan. Okay, you see, I don't know if this is, you see what's going on here. So sheep can be super lovey. We do have 3 or 4 adopters who consistently adopt for therapy animals, because, like, as you can see, she's just loving, and people do this a lot for therapy reasons, and companion animals for them. So sheep kind of get a bad rap, but I personally think they're one of the coolest, and they definitely have the best intuition of any farm animal. They can predict danger before we even know what's happening, so which is pretty cool. Oh, Duncan's on his way back. Hi, Duncan. What's up, Duncan Donut? Let's say hi to the people. I say hi to the people.
Duncan's a little superstar. He wants to make sure everybody knows who he is.
He's all up in our business, and and you can see a lot of them still have their tails. We don't believe in docking tails. It's not necessary. They actually do have fabulous tail control, most breeds, but it does take a certain amount of maintenance. You need to make sure that you keep their wool sheared as needed and nothing gets stuck to anything there. But all in all, that's one of our bigger flocks. Hi. So we do a ton of education for those very purposes, and most people would agree. See. All right. Hi, Duncan. That was funny. We'll loop back around here, and we can do a little. I haven't paid attention to the time, but some questions.
I was just about to open it up for questions for Erica.
Yeah.
I did want to make one comment. I love that you are pairing the animals so that everybody has a friend. That's such a good idea, and I'm sure it helps keep everybody calm and happy, and
Sure.
that's just I love that. That's really awesome.
This is barn B. This is our second barn that we're remodeling right now. So it has my office, an up and coming volunteer center for lunches and putting stuff. We have a cattery. We got a lot of kittens in this past year. It allows us to take care of these types of animals too during disasters. But we really just don't want to have to say no to anything if we don't have to. This whole barn is a work in progress. This particular area that we're building is going to be a vet clinic, so we can do a lot of on-site care. This is an indoor wash rack that we're developing. It's got radiant heat. That's what that panel is. It's pretty cool. Waterproof. And then these are all our post-op stalls that are going in for after surgery and certain special conditions. We have another giant pig back at this barn. This is Tickles. She's somewhat of a famous pig, and she is probably closer to 1,100 pounds now. Tickles, Tickles. Waking a pig up during her nap time is just probably not going to happen. But Tickles has actually had a book written about her called How Tickles Saved Pickles, which is kind of neat. She was a blood donor to a pig who had been accidentally poisoned, eating something they shouldn't have. Pigs tend to do that. So I will see if I can turn around here and yeah, there we go. So that's the short version of the tour, I guess.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today, Erica. We really appreciate it. And it's been so educational. I learned so many things that I didn't know. And I've been in and around the rescue realm for nearly 30 years. And I learned things today that I've never even known before. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everything that you've done. And I love that you are such an important part of the community up there, helping folks through these disasters. And it really does seem that you are one of the main go-to people that people call on for not just disaster advice and help, but just advice and help in general with sanctuaries. And that's just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And it's really an honor to be able to share the knowledge. I mean, what is knowledge if it's not shared? And same with compassion, right? So, and, you know, as Megan mentioned, I was there at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to help them with their area going through that disaster. And gosh, just lovely people. That was actually my first time meeting them. And that is not the conditions. Those are not the first impressions that people get used to. I mean, that's nobody, but I'm so glad that the place was spared and that I was able to be there for them and support during that time. And of course, Charlie's Acres is such an incredible organization. What they're doing and how they've helped. It really takes a village, and you know, we're all the village people, and we understand that, and we work together, and it's fantastic. Oh, are you kidding me? The pigs are getting in their pool right now. I'll turn it around. Full time. I guess it's warmed up.
Oh, look at them. Oh, that's so cute. And that, Erica, that was actually a perfect lead-in, because we actually have Brenda from Charlie's Acres who's going to be up next to do their tour and talk. And so I think I did cover all of the questions for you. Thank you so much for participating. And and we'll check back in with you in a couple of weeks for World Veg Fest. We'll do a little follow-up with you.
That sounds amazing. And, you know, I want to say to everyone who's watching and participating in this, that this is amazing work that everyone is doing. And everything you do, even if it's a little thing like sharing somebody's post or offering kind words of support, this is not an easy business to be in. And it's emotional many times. And so even if you don't have money to donate, there are so many ways to support the people that are supporting the animals. So we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and of course our website, flatbrokefarm.org. And we'd love to hear from you. Unfortunately, we're closed right now because of COVID. We have no tours or volunteers coming. We're running the ship solo for a while, but hopefully soon we'll be able to open back up, and I would love to meet some of you amazing people.
Again, my name is Brenda, and I am a staff member here at Charlie's Acres. We are a beautiful 32-acre farm sanctuary located in gorgeous Sonoma, California. And here at Charlie's Acres, we are a home to 150 permanent residents, and our main mission is providing rescue, rehabilitation, and of course, lots of love and compassion for all of our animal residents that have been through various traumatic experiences. Many of our animals, of course, have also been displaced from recent wildfires as well. And also, as a result of the recent fires that we experienced here in Sonoma, we at Charlie's Acres are also a evacuation site for individuals that are in need of that safety and security and a safe place to find refuge. I also wanted to just say thank you so much to all of the wonderful individuals that came together during this very devastating time. We at Charlie's Acres were incredibly thrilled to see how much the community has come together. We have actually had so much support. It actually makes me want to tear up just thinking about how much love we've received. And I wanted to give just a special shout out to some individuals such as Tommy's Transport Team, Animal Place, Sonoma Cart, Only Sunshine Sanctuary, of course, our dedicated volunteers and the staff and volunteers from Herd and Flock and When Pigs Fly. Without the help of all of those individuals and of course many others, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here. And I also wanted to say thank you to all of you who are tuning in today for your tremendous love and support, especially during these difficult times. Here at Charlie's Acres, of course, as I mentioned, we are home to 150 beautiful residents here that have come from various situations. And I am extremely excited to be able to introduce you all to some of those beautiful residents today. I am currently standing in one of our goat pastures. We have 2 goat pastures here at Charlie's Acres, and I am standing in what is our ambassador goat pasture, where we have 5 beautiful goats that all are very excited to be on camera. So what I will do for everybody is I will flip my camera and I will give you guys a view of exactly what I am seeing now. Right underneath our goat play structure here, we have one of our adorable residents here, Mr. Louie. Louie, as you can see, is just very focused on finishing up with his morning meal. Louie is one of our residents that was actually taken in as a result of the 2017 Camp Fire that occurred in Paradise, California. Louie's previous owner sadly did lose his property and his home, but we of course were very thankful for having Louie come to us, and we are able to now provide him with a safe home and lots of love, and of course definitely lots of other goats for him to play with. Louie, as you can see here, is a Nigerian dwarf goat, and he is naturally a little bit smaller because of his breed, but I always say with Louie, definitely his small size does not hinder the fact that he has a huge personality. Louie is one of our very playful and very spunky goats. He is definitely one that loves to initiate play, not only with his other goat friends, but also with us humans. He's definitely one that loves to also rub his head and his horns on our boots. So I always say, if you come and visit us in person, and if you wear boots with buckles, those are some of Louie's favorite things to scratch his head on. It absolutely feels very good to him, and he totally loves it. As you can see here, I'll see if I can get a good view of his face for you guys. He also, one of the really cool things about goats that I always love to feature is their eyes. Goats actually have horizontal pupils, which is very different from us humans, of course. And by having these horizontal pupils, it allows them to have almost a full 360-degree field of vision, which allows them to easily detect anytime that there are predators in the area. So I always say goats are are definitely awesome, awesome animals that are able to do such amazing things. Right, Mr. Louis? You are so sweet. And Louis is actually underneath one of our main structures that we have here in the goat pasture. This structure was actually built in order for the goats to be able to engage in their natural behaviors, which is something that is so important to consider when having a sanctuary. Of course, goats are natural jumpers and natural climbers, and having this type of structure is very similar to having a playground for humans. It allows these animals to jump and play and frolic and get all of their natural energy out. And of course, Louis and our other goats absolutely love this play structure, especially around bedtime. We can always find them getting that last burst of energy out before they have to go in for the night. Right behind me, we do have a few of our other beautiful residents that are standing right in front of one of our main barns here at the sanctuary. You'll notice that we actually have quite a few different buildings here that are surrounding me. And the reason why we have so many buildings is because each animal group that we have has their own building and their own barn, because every single night, all of our animal groups do go inside of their barns in order to keep them safe from any predators that are in the area. Hi, Miss Ginger. And we just got welcomed here by one of our gorgeous La Mancha goats here, Ginger. Hi, Ginger, can we see your beautiful face? Sometimes she can be a little bit camera shy, but I want you guys to see how absolutely beautiful Ginger is. Ginger is, as I said, a La Mancha goat, and they are famously known for having these very, very tiny little ears. So it's always so adorable. Anytime that we have visitors here at the sanctuary, especially children, usually they will ask, where are Ginger's ears? And I always say, they're definitely there. They're just super duper small and absolutely adorable. Ginger here is one of our many residents that was actually rescued from the dairy industry. Ginger here was actually suffering from a life-threatening case of what's called mastitis, which is an infection of the udder that often occurs when an animal is over-milked in the dairy industry. And Ginger's condition was so severe that it was life-threatening and required very intensive treatment and hospitalization. Ginger, even though she has been through quite a lot in her life, she is also a wonderful example of how resilient and loving and trustful these animals can be. Ginger is now one of our most affectionate residents. She just has the sweetest personality in the world, and we absolutely adore her for that. Also, along with Ginger, hi, sweet girl, oh my goodness. Along with Ginger, we were able to rescue her adoptive daughter, Mary Ann. Mary Ann came to us from the same large-scale dairy farm as Ginger, and I see her here just hiding in the distance, so we will go and say hello to her. Mary Ann has a beautiful golden color, and oftentimes she will blend into her surroundings. Here, because it is summer, we of course do not have a lot of fresh green grass yet, but we are definitely excited for once the seasons turn to have that beautiful fresh grass in here once again for these gorgeous animals. Hi, Mary Ann, are you taking a nap, honey? Oh my gosh. This sweet girl here is Mary Ann, and as I mentioned, she is actually what we consider to be Ginger's adopted daughter. She is actually one that did come to us from the same dairy as Ginger, but while she was at the dairy farm, her birth mother sadly passed away. And so Miss Mary Ann here was able to develop an intensely strong bond with Ginger. And Ginger and Mary Ann were actually rescued with the help of a 16-year-old animal activist. And Mary Ann and Ginger, of course, are now able to spend every single day here together in their pasture, just roaming and playing, and of course, soaking in that sunshine, as Miss Mary Ann is demonstrating for you guys right now. Hi, sweet girl. You are so gorgeous. I swear I could spend every single moment of the day just being in here with the goats and just watching them relax. It is just so soothing. Hi, baby. Should we go say hi to Hannah and Margaret? Let's actually go say hi to a few of our other beautiful goats here. We have two other lovely residents that do live in this goat pasture, along with Ginger, Mary Ann, and Louie. We are now going to approach Miss Margaret here. Hi, Margaret. And Margaret is what we consider to be a boar goat. And boar goats have these gorgeous brown and white markings, and also these very, very adorable long floppy ears here, kind of similar to a basset hound's ears. Oh, are you checking out next door? Hi, we actually have a few sheep that live in the pasture next door, so it looks like Margaret is just checking them out as well. Margaret here was also rescued from the dairy industry as well. And when Miss Margaret was born, she was born with a condition called inverted eyelids. And that means that her eyelids were actually flipped in the opposite direction from how they normally should be when they're born. And so Margaret here did have to have corrective surgery in order to repair her eyelids and also to make sure that her vision is always going to be 100% healthy. And of course, Miss Margaret here is now doing extremely well. Sometimes she can be a little bit camera shy also. Oh, hi, sweet girl. Let's see your beautiful face. Oh my goodness. But Margaret here was also able to be taken in with a very, very special individual named Hannah. And we'll go and say hi to her right now. Come on, Miss Margaret. You want to come go say hi to Hannah? And Hannah here, who we are approaching, looks very, very similar to Miss Margaret. And the reason why is because Hannah is actually Margaret's mother. So here at Charlie's Acres, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is being able to keep family members together, and also individuals that are extremely bonded to one another, such as Ginger and Mary Ann. We have found that keeping those individuals together is absolutely vital for their emotional and psychological wellness and well-being. So Miss Hannah and Margaret here did also come from the same smaller organic dairy farm, and Hannah was also suffering from a very significant case of mastitis and did require very significant treatment before coming to live with us as a permanent resident here at Charlie's Acres. Another really fun fact that I wanted to share is that Hannah here is an excellent example. Oh, Hannah is an excellent example of female goats that can actually have horns. A lot of individuals, when they see Hannah, they automatically think that she's a male. But I always say that it all depends on the breed of goat that they are. So female goats and also sheep as well are able to produce horns. It just all depends on their breed. And here at Charlie's Acres, if we do take in an animal that already has their horns, we do not ever remove their horns. Their horns are actually full of nerve endings and blood vessels, and by removing those horns, oftentimes it's done without anesthesia, and it could be an incredibly painful process for these animals. So here, we allow them to keep their horns because that is the natural thing that they should be able to have. So Hannah here is definitely a beautiful, beautiful girl. You'll see that her and her baby girl are incredibly bonded with one another, and it just fills our hearts with so much joy being able to see both of these beautiful animals together every single day and being able to maintain that mother and daughter bond that they have. Also here at Charlie's Acres, we are conducting both in-person and virtual tours. We do accommodate in-person tours, both in the form of community tours and private tours. Our community tours are currently up to 10 people in order to maintain all of these safety restrictions with COVID. And also, we do offer private tours as well throughout the week. In addition to those experiences, we do also offer classroom tours as well for teachers in order to incorporate farmed animal sanctuary work into their curriculum. So here we are incredibly thankful that we are able to offer these amazing services to the community and also to individuals all around the world. In addition to everything that we do here for our wonderful residents. We also are really excited that we have kicked off our You Pick Garden donation program as well. And that also provides us the opportunity to be able to provide fresh produce to our visitors, our volunteers, and also to local businesses and other organizations who are desperately in need of having fresh produce. And we do that here on a complete donation basis. And all of the produce that we do have is grown directly here at Charlie's Acres, which is absolutely amazing. I also wanted to encourage everyone here, if you aren't already following us on social media, to definitely give us a follow. We are on Instagram at Charlie's Acres, and we are also on Facebook at Charlie's Acres Farm Sanctuary. And if you are interested in paying us a visit in person to meet these wonderful, wonderful residents, you can always send us an email at info@charliesacres.org, or you can also check out our main website, which is www.charliesacres.org. And on our website, we have not only these beautiful goats and their stories, but we also do have many other bios for all of our other wonderful residents here. So I definitely encourage you guys to check out our social media and definitely our website, where we always are posting fun and exciting happenings, pictures and videos of all of the crazy adventures that our animals get into every single day, especially the goats. They're just super duper playful. Right, Margaret? Hi, sweet girl. And I did want to open up the floor to all of you who are watching if there are any questions about our sanctuary, the work that we do, or about our beautiful residents here.
I'd love it if you could talk about how Charlie's Acres was also affected by the fires last year and had to be evacuated, and how you work together with other organizations during that time as well.
Absolutely. So here at Charlie's Acres, we definitely have had such an outpouring of support from individuals within the community, not only with these recent fires, but also from fires in the past that have directly impacted us. One of the really wonderful things about us here is that we do collaborate with many other organizations, especially if we do need to evacuate. And it has been such a beautiful experience seeing the communities come together and be able to help get all of the individuals to safety, whether it is our evacuees or evacuees from other organizations. I know that in these times with all of the wildfires, it is always such a very scary and stressful time for not only us, but also for these animals. So being able to have that support from these organizations is absolutely vital in order to make sure that all of our animal residents stay safe, and also to make sure that all of the humans stay safe as well. Hi, you guys. You guys can come on in. They're just leading a in-person tour at the moment here, so we'll let them pass on through.
Now, you don't see that every day, a virtual tour and an in-person tour happening
Absolutely.
at the exact same time.
We definitely do it all here at Charlie's Acres. Of course, we always want to be able to offer as many experiences as we can and as much education as we can as well. And I think Louie is very excited to meet our human visitors. Right, sweetie?
Aw. I love that you are able to keep family units together and even adopted family units together. That's amazing.
Absolutely, and that is definitely something that we absolutely have strived to do ever since the beginning of our establishment in 2016. As I mentioned earlier, we know that the separation of families and these individuals who've built friendships, separating them can be incredibly, incredibly traumatic. And we, of course, do not want to cause any additional trauma after these animals have already experienced so much in their lives. So here we absolutely will strive to keep those animal residents together, and also to introduce them to other animal friends as well, where they're able to bond very, very lasting friendships. I know that we didn't get to see them today, but we also do have 2 cows named Honey and Benjamin, who are also a mother and son pair that were rescued from the dairy industry. And both Honey and Benjamin are just such a beautiful case of that family bond, because even though Benjamin is only 2 years old, he still attempts to nurse off of Honey. And that really just shows how strongly bonded they are to each other. So it's really something that we absolutely strive for. And of course, our animals are very thankful every time that they get to wake up every day and know that their children are with them. Right, Hannah?
Oh, Hannah's so beautiful. Look at those
She is
ears.
gorgeous, and she knows it too. Right, Hannah?
And just want to see if anybody else has any more questions for Brenda before we let her go. Let's see. Oh, what is the goat's favorite thing to eat?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So I would definitely say grass hay for sure is their favorite thing to eat. But also in the summertime, we do also give all of our animals fresh 100% fruit popsicles as well, especially on those very, very hot summer days, and also the occasional watermelon as well. So I would say those are absolutely very, very loved when they're able to get those treats, but they love their grass hay. Even though they get it for breakfast and dinner, as you can see, they absolutely love it. They are pretty focused on it once it comes to be breakfast and dinner.
They're on a mission for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, and we just had one last question come in. Can you give us an idea of what types of animals you have at Charlie's? So we know you have goats, you have the 2 cows that you mentioned. Who all do you have there at Charlie's Acres?
Absolutely, that's a wonderful question, and I'm so glad that you asked. We actually have several different types of farmed animals that call Charlie's Acres their home. Not only do we have goats and cows, but we also have miniature cows as well as sheep. We have chickens, we have turkeys, we have roosters, we also have horses as well, and we do have larger pigs and also pot-bellied pigs. So we absolutely have a large array of animals. And we do also have in the very back of our pasture, one of my favorite places in Bird Alley is actually our duck pond that we have here at the sanctuary, where we do have both geese and ducks that are able to swim in their pond every single day. And it's such a peaceful and serene, beautiful area that if you do come to see us in person, you will absolutely be able to go inside of that pond and just take in that beautiful, tranquil environment. It's just so serene, and I absolutely love that we're able to provide something that's that special to all of the ducks and the geese that live with us.
I'm sure I speak for everyone who's watching today. This has talk about peaceful and serene. It has been amazing to see all of these beautiful sanctuary animals and just enjoying their lives and hanging out and having fun. And we're only halfway through, so I want to thank you so much for your time today, Brenda. We really appreciate you being with us. And we will definitely be checking back in with you in a couple weeks during World Veg Fest.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much again for hosting this amazing event. And I also wanted to say again, thank you for all of you who are tuning in today. We could not do the work that we do without your love and your support. So thank you all so much. And like I mentioned earlier, please feel free to check out our website and pay us a visit in person. We would absolutely love to meet you.
Average size backyard with a single family home. They were basically living in her backyard, not getting the proper care that they needed, not getting the proper diet they needed, nor the amount of space either. Now, Dolly here was going blind, and her owner unfortunately didn't want her anymore. because she was going blind. She didn't know how to take care of her, didn't know what to do with blind llama. So she reached out to us and had asked us if we would be willing to take them in. So we were happy to. We brought them here, got them on the proper diet that a llama should eat. You've got hay, llama pellets that have vitamins and nutrients in it, a mineral block, and we started to know that Sheikah's eyesight was starting to return, that she was starting to see things. So we had our vet check her out, and it was determined that Dolly was actually vitamin and nutrient deficient, and that was what was affecting her eyesight. It wasn't that she was blind. She was having vision impairments because of that vitamin and nutrient deficiency. And so after about 2 months of her being on the proper diet, I'm happy to say that her eyesight has been fully restored. She's no longer blind. She'll live her life here at Sweet Farm with her full eyesight. And these two ladies are happy as could be. So they're long-haired llamas, so you can see they're different than Paco. They will have to be sheared once a year. Their shearing style they are now is the way that we got them. So next spring, we'll work with our shearer and have them sheared properly, which is typically all the neck all the way down. So that will make them more comfortable during the summer months here, and keep them a lot more cleaner as well when they're dust bathing in the summer and those sorts of things.
That is just amazing that her eyesight was restored after being on a proper diet.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like humans, right? So, I mean, if we don't eat properly, I mean, sometimes we'll experience certain physical effects, whether it's inflammation or, I mean, diabetes can affect your eyesight and those sorts of things from your diet. And so, proper diets can affect animals as well.
Oh, they are just so beautiful. All of the animals are just so gorgeous. So, and it's so interesting to hear their bonding experiences as well.
Yeah, and so just like with these guys, their form of communication is through, like, they hum and talk to each other. And so that is their form of communication between each other. And so since they're natural herd protectors, and so they'll protect the farm of any predator that might wander on. So like a coyote, a fox, or something like that. And so when they want to alert the farmhands that something might be coming on, they will make like a sound, and it could be anything like a clicking. It could be a sound that resembles like a horse. Each llama has its own sound. So like Dolly makes a sound that resembles a horse sound. Now Paco makes a really loud clicking sound, and that's his like danger alert sound. We have yet to actually hear Sheikah's danger alert sound. So we are all patiently waiting to hear what sound Sheikah will make when danger is present. We've only heard Dolly's and Paco's.
Do Dolly and Sheikah interact with Paco, or do they kind of stay on different ends of the pasture?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they are still getting acclimated with each other. They sleep in the same stall together, but when they are out in open space, they tend to kind of keep their distance from each other. And we do feel a lot of that has to do with the fact that Paco was basically raised on a horse farm, and when he met the two lady llamas, we do feel that this was the first time that he had ever met two other llamas. And so he's still kind of getting used to the ladies. And so they do sleep though nicely in the same stall. So that's a good start.
Oh, that's a great start. And it's so wonderful that that Paco is just so closely bonded with the horses. He's like, well, I'm going to hang out with my buddies over here.
Yeah, I sometimes think Paco just thinks he's a horse. So yeah.
I used to have a cat that was 100% convinced that he was a dog. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, and let me introduce you to Sturgis the Stallion. He is right up here, hanging out, finishing up the llama's breakfast this morning. And so this is Sturgis. He is our 37-year-old stallion, and he turned 37 a few months ago, and and
37. Wow.
That is
and so
amazing.
yeah, and so of course, the average life span of a horse is about 28 to 30. So he's lived an incredibly long life by now, and he is doing just great. And Sturgis is like, he was the very first rescue here at Sweet Farm. Paco loves him, Gizmo loves him, and he is just an incredible ambassador here at Sweet Farm. And he's like the grandpa here. And here, we'll show you guys from afar here. So we've got Angel right here, our newest addition here at Sweet Farm, who came from us from a beef farm in the Central California area. And the neighbor witnessed her giving her birth to her second stillborn calf and would have been sent off to slaughter. So the neighbor coordinated her release and then had asked us to provide permanent refuge, which we did. And so she has just joined us last week. So she is our newest addition here at Sweet Farm. And then we've got Gizmo, Big Gizmo, who's laying out there in the field. He was one of our very first cows here that joined us at Sweet Farm. He was from 4-H. And 4-H is that youth leadership program where the young boy or girl raises the farm animal, shows them off at the county fair, and then they will eventually end up being sold at live market. The big boy standing up out there in the middle is Argyle. He was rescued from the dairy industry as a male cow, and luckily for him, he was born on an educational dairy farm. And so the owner didn't want to send him off to slaughter, so he wanted to find him another home. So he reached out to us and asked us to bring him here, which we did. And so we were able to send him, provide him permanent housing here. And then this little lady here that's laying down, that is Magnolia. And Maggie is our little dwarf cow. And she was rescued from the organic grass-fed beef industry.
Oh, they are just so beautiful, and you can tell how happy they are there. Thank you so much for providing forever homes for these wonderful, magnificent animals.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys so much for what you guys are doing and helping all the sanctuaries out during this challenging and difficult time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cami, and I work here at Rancho Compasión. We are a 501c3 nonprofit farmed animal sanctuary located in Cascio, California, which is just almost an hour north of San Francisco. We're in Marin County. And we are home to over 100 animals that have been saved from neglect, abandonment, abuse, homelessness, or otherwise a situation requiring them to be surrendered to our sanctuary, and we give them a loving forever home. We have a whole bunch of chickens. Right now we are in the aviary, and this wonderful structure actually came with the property when my family bought it about 6 years ago. And like the people who lived in the house before had all kinds of exotic birds. But now we just have chickens and turkeys, and we even have some geese hanging out with us here in the aviary. And the section that we're standing in is where we are keeping our fire evacuee hens. And so, I guess, geez, it was about a month ago, we took in, I want to say, we took in about 70 chickens, roosters and hens, from a chicken rescue down in Santa Cruz because they had to flee due to the fires down south over there. There were tons of animal rescuers on the scene. dashing down to Santa Cruz, bringing them to the fairgrounds. And some of the chickens were brought all the way to Petaluma, which is about an hour north of San Francisco, to Animal Place's shelter facility. So Animal Place is a massive sanctuary that is based in California, and they do a lot of the huge rescues and advocacy, and they are an awesome resource, especially for us smaller sanctuaries. They've actually helped place a lot of animals with us. And they have this holding facility in Petaluma where they took in a bunch of these evacuees. As you can see here, these are just some of them. We heard that their shelter was crowded, and they needed to clear up some space so they could take in even more fire evacuees. And so we jumped on it. We were like, yes, like we'll bring them here. We've got the room. We sort of didn't think about it. We just did it. And we had our amazing volunteers help out. We took some of the, I think we took like 30 or 40 in our barn, which is on the other end of the property, and then we kept another 20 over here. And so I'm going to show you guys some of the chickens that we ended up keeping. So a lot of them ended up going back to Hen Harbor, which is the chicken rescue down in Santa Cruz, but we offered to keep about 25. You know, we had the room, and so they said, oh yeah, well, can you take all of these red hens? And as you can see, she's eating some lettuce. She's a little scraggly looking. Her feathers look a little ratty. And that's because, they were just rescued a couple of weeks prior to the fires from a battery cage factory farm. So they were all in a really bad state. I guess this rescue had been doing a series of rescues where they were going and taking batches of these chickens, bringing them to the rescue to be later adopted out. And so some of them, like her over here, have really nice plumage, and some of them look a little bit ratty. And so we had all of the chickens. We had about 70 with us for about 2 weeks. And we decided to keep 26 of them. And I love these red hens. They are just so curious and so outgoing, especially compared to our white leghorns, who are on the other side of that fence over there. The white ones with the big red combs, they're a little more skittish. But these red ones are so funny. They just come right up to you. And they are not afraid. They'll like just weave in and out of your legs. This girl's molting, so she looks like a wreck, but it's all good because her feathers are going to come in nice and beautifully. And this is Neptune. He is not from the fires, but we couldn't turn him down. There's so many roosters out there needing homes, and so right now he's taking a lovely dust bath. Look at that, with some of his girlfriends. And so actually this black hen right here, and I'm going to introduce you to some of her other flock mates, those geese over there. They happen to be sitting in the Petaluma shelter when we went and picked up these fire evacuees. And so, you know, we went there. Oh, they're very loud. And look at this one extending his neck because he's like, stay out of my business. So I don't have to yell. I'll just move a little bit further away. But those geese were from a separate neglect case down in Fresno. This guy had a bunch of farmed animals, and they were he took off to Mexico. He just up and left all these animals behind. So Animal Place, the wonderful rescuers that they are, took in a bunch of these geese, and they were sitting at that Petaluma shelter, like I'd mentioned, and we said, sure, we'll take them as well. Might as well. We have all this room for chickens and geese, so we'll take them. And right now they're here until we can they're temporarily here because we are going to be expanding our enclosures for our geese and our ducks. And we're just about finishing up all of our checks on these chickens. Some of them came with leg bands so that they can be identified. And some of them don't have leg bands. And because they all look the same, they do require leg bands so that we can identify them in the event of a medical emergency, so we can track their health, see if they're gaining weight, losing weight, if they need to have any kind of mite or parasite treatment, things like that. So basically, it was a pretty crazy couple of weeks. We just took as many as we could in these large carriers, and we realized that wasn't very efficient because we have all these kennels that people have donated to us, and we ended up having to buy these crates that are specifically meant to transport chickens, and they're really they're flat, and they don't take up as much space as a traditional kennel, so we're happy to have those. Next time we need to evacuate anyone, because you can fit a lot of them in there. It doesn't take up as much room. So your donations are always welcome. Caring for chickens, it's a lot more challenging than most people would think. They have all kinds of medical problems that come up because they are bred to lay so many eggs. Their bodies often shut down at a really young age. They're basically laying over 300 eggs a year compared to wild chickens or their ancestors who are only laying about 12 to 20 eggs a year. So their bodies get really spent, but you can see they do live their life to the fullest. I mean, imagine you couldn't imagine a chicken like this taking a sun bath and a dirt bath and a tiny cage in a factory farm. So they really are living their best lives, and we just want to maintain that. We want to give them the best care possible, because so many things can come up, and especially now that it's fire season really did get started early this year, and we expect there's going to be many more fires. And we want to be able to open our doors to any evacuees. So I don't know, is there time for questions, or how do we want to keep meeting some more of the residents here?
Oh yeah, we still have lots of time.
Okay. What's our time check?
Time check it's 12:05.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
All
doing
right.
really good. It's so nice to see all of these beautiful chickens in such a different circumstance than what they came from. I do have a quick question before you leave the aviary, though, Cammie. Those little CDs, what's the purpose of those?
Oh, yes, these CDs. So this was my attempt to give everyone a more enriching enclosure. So I just tied them up there. Oh, those geese are so talkative. They are shiny, which is attractive, or supposedly. They also, I guess the shine is supposed to ward off some predators, not all. We don't really have a predator problem within here, but I hung them up mostly so that they could maybe see their reflection and peck around at it and kind of be more engaged with their environment. I also built them a little swing here. We had a ladder, and I just put it up on some baling twine. No one really uses it, and I think that's a testament to how much they just enjoy the way it is now. I think if they were in a really more confined space, they probably would be playing with more toys, but they're good. If they want to perch on here, they can, but they really just love taking their sun baths. Look at that. They have simple needs, but they're pretty self-sustaining for the most part. And they don't really play with the toys that I tried to build for them, but that's okay. They seem happy regardless. Hi.
They
Nice,
really do. Everybody is clearly enjoying their dirt baths and their sunbathing and hanging around with their friends. And
absolutely. And we're gonna once we finish up their final identification and health checks, we just have to get them all in our system so we know who's who. Then we're going to integrate them with the rest of the flock, and everyone will get to hang out. So we have a whole bunch of white leghorns that these are also girls that were in battery cages, and they were saved. A lot of them were saved from Iowa. There was a big factory farm that shut down in Iowa, and this was like a big case for all the animal rescues. We all tried taking as many as we could. We, of course, have some turkeys. This is Fred Astaire and his wife, Ginger Rogers.
oh
Fred
my
Astaire,
goodness.
he's a tap dancer. We have to walk around to see him because there's a fence in the way. Everyone's chilling right now. It's that kind of late morning or just midday kind of relaxation time. See, everyone's taking little baths here in the dirt, relaxing in the sun. There's Snow Owl. Hello. All right. And so there's Esmeralda. Esmeralda was she was found trying to integrate herself into a wild turkey flock, and she was captured and brought to Wild Care in San Rafael, which is a wild care or wildlife care center and refuge. And so because she is a domesticated turkey, they said that she couldn't be released into the wild and needed to live with humans and amongst other domesticated birds. And so here she is, and she's so funny. She's very sassy, as you might not have seen it earlier, but she likes chasing around our kitty cats. We have some kitty cats that hang around. She likes pecking things, very smart. And this is Fred Astaire. And no, our turkeys don't really come in for hugs. I know that some other turkeys do at other sanctuaries. Ours are not really the huggy type, but they are curious. They are social. Fred Astaire especially is a total, he's a people person. If he hears voices on the other side of the property, he will up and leave, and our barn is way over there, and he will traverse, I don't know, a quarter of a mile just to go, and it's not a quarter of a mile, but it's several hundred yards, and he will go and greet everyone, and he's just Mr. Life of the party. And then he does his tap dance, hence the name Fred Astaire. And of course his wife, Ginger Rogers. And they were actually brought to us just before Thanksgiving in 2017, I think. And she's definitely has a hard time losing her weight because they are meant to fatten up due to the way they are bred. And she's saying hi to everyone. They're very talkative. Woo! Woo! Ginger.
Oh, it's so fun to see them so close up.
Yes. They have so much to say. She's like, where is this laughter coming from? Are you gonna fight me now? Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna challenge you. All right, mama. Yes, so everyone here has their own story of coming from dire situations, or sometimes people end up with chickens, as backyard pets, and they realized they were way in over their heads, and they just they couldn't handle the backyard chicken life, which we always highly recommend. If anyone's going to do that, please adopt, and please do all your research and give them the right kind of veterinary care. Make sure you don't buy from a hatchery, because that's where That's where the rooster problem comes from. We have 2 roosters here. There's Burton over there, and Austin Powers, also known as, well, I call him Austin Powers. His real name is totally slipping my name, but I call him Austin Powers because if you hear him crow, it sounds like the Austin Powers theme song. He goes doo, 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 when he crows. And every rooster has their own unique crow, and his, to me, just happens to sound like the Austin Powers theme song. So, you know, everyone's kind of got their own thing going on.
And with his sassy feathers, he almost looks like he's saying, "Do you find me sexy, baby?"
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's a silky. So silkies have very fluffy, furry looking feathers because they're not barbed, so they don't sort of lay flat the way that everyone else's feathers do. And roosters are incredible because they really do protect their girls, and they always tell their girls where the food is. So let's see if Burton will tell the girls where the food is. They're very vocal about it. Burton, let's see. Oh, I know you want to eat. See if I throw something. Are you gonna do it? They'll make a big show usually, and they sometimes what they do is they'll point to the food. They won't actually eat it. They'll pick it up and they'll make all this fuss and say, "Ladies, look, there's food over here. Come and get it." And they'll show the girls where the food is, and they're very cordial because they won't eat it first. They'll let the girls do their eating. But they also take advantage of that situation for the girls to get close to them so that they can do their business and mate. So they're very sly, and the girls, like, they're annoyed. They're always annoyed with it. They'll, like, some of them will come over and, like, get the food if the guy calls them over, but some of them do not fall for his tricks, and they're very smart because they're like, "Not today. I do not want to be mated with today." So shall we head over to the barn?
Yeah, we'd love to see the barn.
Okay, so we are situated on about 11 acres here. The property in total is, I want to say 17. We have a little seasonal pond here. It's all dried up. And this is also, you know, a wildlife habitat. We have endangered native tree frogs that live in this pond, and they're the only ones that are able to, there's also quail over there. There's a whole family of quail, about 30 of them. Can't really see them because it's so dark. But those frogs will burrow in the mud when the pond dries up. And that gives them a fighting chance to survive because we have another pond and in our large animal enclosure, and that is populated with bullfrogs. And bullfrogs, if anyone knows, are highly invasive around the world, and so they will populate literally any body of water. So as long as that pond over there continues to dry up every year, it gives the native frogs a chance to survive, because bullfrogs, they eat everything in sight. They even eat their own. So we have all kinds of wild birds come and visit us. We see egrets and heron and coots and all kinds of wild ducks. And so this is our barn. We have a few volunteers here today. We're working on projects all the time, and there's always so much to be cleaned up. So if it looks like it's a mess, it's because things are in progress. We are always trying to improve and build things and organize things. All right, so here we are in our barn. This is our main animal caregiver, Allison.
Hi, Allison.
And we have a couple of chickens here. This is Beyonce. She looks like she's going to try to lay an egg, but she does have cancer. So we have a lot of our chickens that did not get along with the other chickens or require specialized medical attention. So they all kind of live here in the barn as a separate flock. We have one of our barn kitties hanging out. This is Puma. Hi, buddy. Puma actually showed up with his girlfriend Lyra back in June, and these cats just showed up out of nowhere. They started hanging around, and I guess they adopted us. I posted something on Nextdoor, and it turned out that this barn and equestrian stable across the street said that they belonged to them, and they got them as barn cats from a feral cat rescue. And the people didn't really ever come and pick the cats up, so the cats decided to stay here. So now they are ours, and they love their barn kitty life. They get food morning and night, and they do keep the rat population at bay. And this is Griselda and her comb, which is that pink floppy part on top of her head. She got in a fight, I think, with some other chickens at the aviary, so her skull was partially exposed. It was a whole big deal. She actually recovered really well, and she lives here permanently at the barn so she can get all the attention she needs. All right, let's go meet whoever we can. Everyone is kind of off. Close the gate behind you. We will do that. Very important, because sometimes the goats get out and then they cause a lot of trouble. They get into the feed room and they eat whatever they can find. Here's Reggie.
Oh, hi, Reggie.
In the background. Reggie, how did you get in here, buddy? This is actually where two of our geese sleep at night. But the whole thing with goats is they're a lot like cats. So we've all kind of heard that internet mantra about cats: if I fits, I sits. Well, it definitely applies to goats. They love little tiny crawl spaces. We have this like little hut right over there, and I call it the clubhouse because they just hang out there all day, and it's like where the cool goats hang out, and they just love, like, they're just so curious. They want to fit into any tiny little crevice, and they like climbing things and exploring everything that they can. This is Leroy and his best friend Madeline behind him. So Leroy and Madeline were raised by a young woman who runs Genevieve's Gentle Heart Rescue a little bit south from us in Central California. And they were both saved from various farm situations. So he actually was born in a herd that was being used for weed mitigation. Sometimes you'll go on hikes or you'll see on the side of the road a whole bunch of herds in your local park or open space area. And those are like called weed abatement herds. And this guy in particular, his mom had given birth and he was left alone, and none of the herders, the human herders, came and paid him any attention, and this guy was gonna die. He had just been born, and the mom wasn't there. He was all sickly, and this woman happened to be hiking in the area and saw that this goat needed help, and they surrendered the goat to this woman. She took him to Genevieve's Gentle Heart Rescue, and he was just a little baby, nursed back to health, and then adopted out to us. And this is his BFF, Madeline. Oh my God, Madeline, you are just drooling like crazy. She does do that. Oh, look how fancy she is. Wow, you're very posh. Madeline was from a ranch or a goat breeding farm, and she's a La Mancha goat. She doesn't have ears, really. She's got little nubs, and that's just the breed that she is. Her type, I think, her breed is probably used for dairy, I want to say. And she was born with a cleft palate, and a cleft palate is something we see often in humans, maybe in dogs, but they really can affect all kinds of animals. And that basically is a death sentence if you're born into a farm or breeding facility where you're only seen for your economic value. And if you have a medical condition like a cleft palate, it's going to be way too hard for that animal to put on weight and be able to produce milk or meat, because with her, and it also would have been way too expensive for a farm to go through the operations to fix that cleft palate. So she basically was discarded at the farm. They what they do is they take the animal, you know, out in the back, and they kind of let them just sit there and starve because it's too expensive to euthanize them. And it's, if they're newborn, it's a lot easier just to not give them the nutrients they need. And so this farmer who has a relationship with this young woman who runs Genevieve's Gentle Heart Rescue said, hey, look, you know, we're going to get rid of this goat. Do you want to try to take her? And so this girl said, of course, we're going to try and give her the best care that she needs. And she had an operation to kind of heal that cleft palate, that hole in the roof of her mouth. And initially the vets said, you know, she didn't have a lot of time to live. They really thought that she was, look at that, that she was going to probably die in a few months, at a few months of age. She wouldn't make it past a year old. And here she is over a year and a half later, and she is thriving. She is on the small side, but you know, that's fine. She's still extremely active. She's so spunky. She is just the funniest goat. And right now she's just like super relaxed, but normally she's sneaking up behind you, or she'll come and smell your face. That's one of the things she likes to do, is just get a really good whiff of people. And I don't know if that's because her she can't smell very well because of her cleft palate or what, but she's super social. She just loves greeting anyone and everyone. She's not afraid of the larger animals, like some of our larger goats and our cows and donkeys. She kind of she'll roll with everyone. And these two are quite the troublemakers. They can be spunky because they were kind of raised in a house. They were a little spoiled, so they like to mess around with people occasionally. But everyone has such a unique story, as I mentioned earlier, and we've just loved talking about their stories, and they love it too because they get all kinds of attention. And you're just drooling, my goodness. And that's what happens when she relaxes, and it's just going to be like that for the rest of her life, but she is a-okay. So here's our big pond, and we have our sheep here, and Rufus is the goat back there hanging out. My beautiful girls. Everyone loves this spot because it's nice and shady. June is the sheep that we see in front of us, and she was found in a hoarding situation, and she was living in a really small dog run that was all dirt, and she was all fenced in by herself, and right next to her was a goat. And so her best friend was this goat, and they lived in just a horrid hoarding situation. I don't even know really anything about it, but it was so bad because when they came here, she had tons of wool matted on top of her back, and she had like these long hanging dreadlocks, and it was completely unnatural because, as you can see behind her, that is Cinnamon, and they're the same type of sheep, and Cinnamon hardly has any wool on her. And that's because they're Barbados sheep, and they are self-shedding. So basically they are able to, instead of having to be sheared or have their wool cut off, they can kind of just rub their wool coats on like the fence or a tree, or kind of bite at it, and it'll come right out when they're ready to shed in the summertime. And June had never done that. So it had just always grown on top of her. And it was sort of the symbol of her, whatever trauma she was holding on to it was sort of a security blanket. So when she and Benny and June, named after that 80s movie with Johnny Depp, when they came here, and it was in the springtime, I want to say, and this whole hillside was filled with green grass, they were just totally shocked. It was like they were shell shocked. They couldn't believe all this open space that was theirs, and they really did settle in. Even though they were at the bottom of the totem pole, they were best friends, and Benny was this goat that just always protected June, because they all have a hierarchy in the herd, in the goat and sheep herd, and she was way at the bottom, and Benny would always protect her and butt heads with the other goats. Benny unfortunately passed away pretty quickly a few years ago. We discovered cancer in him, and he had to be put down, and so she was all alone for a few months, until we got a call that there was a little lamb who was sitting at this. Oh, I got some jackhammering all of a sudden. See if we can move away from it. There was a little lamb sitting in this animal shelter in Sonoma County, and that was Cinnamon right there. And so we brought Cinnamon home, and I guess she had just been found wandering on the side of the road. So June finally got to meet another sheep for the first time in her life, and not just any old sheep. It was a sheep that looked almost identical to her. And so at first June didn't really want anything to do with Cinnamon, but then they realized that they were like the same species, and that actually worked out really well for them. The animals do kind of prefer to be around their own kind. There's just an inherent language that they speak, and they just resonate with each other a little bit better than with, a sheep and a goat, for example. And so the two of them became inseparable. And then last December, we brought home Hope, who is this sheep over here. As you can see, they're very sheepish and skittish. They're not the most social. They're not like goats. And Hope was, I believe she was also just found on the side of the road. And this happens a lot with rescued animals, or the animals that we have in our care. They are found in situations where they might just be wandering the roadside, and those are the lucky ones, whether they jumped out of a transport truck or broke through a hole in the fence at their whatever farm they were at. But those are the ones that are lucky enough to be picked up, and if no one reclaims them, then they can come to Sanctuary or to a private adopter. This is Rufus.
Oh, Rufus.
Rufus the Goofus. And I say that because he is a total goofball. Rufus here. He's like, everyone's like really chill right now. So I have to explain their personalities because you can't see them when they're just like relaxing. But he loves to play games. And one of his games is, if you're going, we have like, as you might have seen, very steep hill over there. So we like to go on little hikes with the goats way up the hill. But on the way back, if you're going downhill, you got to be extra careful around this guy because he loves to sneak up right behind you and knock you over. And it's just so much fun going downhill with goats because they do, they love to like run and bound and leap down the hill with each other. And they'll like race ahead of you, and you'll be like, struggling down the hillside. But this guy, he will wait behind. Everyone will be like way gone down the hill, and he'll linger behind, and he'll kind of look at you like, all right, are you going to do it? Are you going to go so I can knock you over? And you have to be very stern with him and say, no, Rufus, you go ahead, go down the hill. You can butt heads with your other goat friends, but I'm not a goat, so you can't butt heads with me. But he doesn't always listen to you. He doesn't always listen, and he'll kind of come up right behind you, and he'll start pushing you. And it doesn't hurt, but he pushes you down the hill faster than you want to go. And he gets a great laugh out of that. He thinks that's really funny and really clever of him. And he also he'll take little toys. Sometimes he'll find a stick, or one time it was my mom. She had a notebook in her hand, and he'll kind of pick it up with his mouth, in this really gentle way, and he'll start kind of shaking his head and playing with it. And he's just so curious. He loves to play his little games. And he's kind of the top goat here. He's got very long horns. Got some duckies waddling around. They're very talkative. Ducks are always talking. It's really funny because you have some animals that hardly speak. And then the ducks, they've always got something to say. So we have our Pekin duck, and then that's a khaki duck in front of their boyfriend and girlfriend. And here we have Moby and Daisy, or as I call Darth Maul ducks. And they're very interesting. They are a type of wood duck that comes from South America, whereas all the other domesticated duck species originated from, I want to say, Asia. And they have claws, really sharp kind of talons, and they have really strong beaks or bills that point, come to like a sharp point at the tip. And they have mohawks. You can see he's got this fancy, very punk mohawk going on. And their faces are exposed, and they're all red, and they're sort of bumpy looking. And those are called caruncles. And they're very social.
Are they related
too.
to Muscovy ducks?
They are Muscovy ducks.
I
yes.
thought maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a couple of Muscovy ducks here at Lake Merritt. I recently moved to Oakland, and I recognized the little Viking helmets.
Yep. And the thing is, they with domestic ducks, a lot of people will dump them at local ponds and parks. And because they're domesticated, these guys are really heavy. So he's probably like 20 pounds. They are bred to put on a lot of weight, and they don't have great survival skills. And these guys in particular, they don't love to swim. And so, you know, when they live at a public park, it's not always the best thing for them because they really do have a different set of requirements. Like they can't fly away from cars or predators or other human man-made threats. And so if we can find our geese, I will tell you the story of them. But I don't see them around. Usually they're kind of hanging around here. Hi, Cookies. Again, if I fits, I sits, or in this case, stand. But yeah, they love little enclosures like that. We don't force them in there. They want to be there. Truly. There's Cream. This is Cookie's wife.
Oh, hi, sweetheart.
Hi, beautiful mama. So the story with Cream is, and Cookies and Cream, they came and they had a baby named Newbie, but Newbie passed away, so it's just these two. Hi, beautiful. They're La Mancha goats. As you can see, they have little elf ears compared to our other goats that have long, floppy ears. And, you know, it's not clear what their story is. I think also with them, they were probably found on the side of the road or something like that as a family unit. And she might have been milked. I don't know, but whatever had happened with her, she was pretty traumatized and really didn't like humans. She didn't want people touching her. You could really only kind of touch her right here in between her horns or on her head. But even, you know, even that would kind of trigger some kind of reaction where she would headbutt you and she would kind of like spike you with her horns. And it was, you would walk away with a couple of bruises every now and again. It was not fun. But, you know, we take them in at whatever state they're at, and whatever they need, we give it to them. And even if it's hard to get along with them, and we want everyone to feel comfortable and feel safe and supported here, but sometimes they're just not ready for that. And so she wasn't ready for that when she first came here. But she did have an abscess that developed a few months later. And we had to drain the abscess and give her all this medical attention. And after that whole procedure, she completely did a 180. She realized that she was safe and that all we wanted to do was to take care of her and keep her safe and protected, and, you know, make sure that she wasn't in pain. And kind of ever since that whole medical incident, she started to open up, and she would come up to you for affection, and would actively seek out pets and cuddles, and she just wanted to hang out and be by your side, because goats really, they are so social. They're like dogs. They always come right up to you, and they tell you when they want attention, and trust me, it's all the time. They always want something out of you, and she does that now. She wants that attention. She wants that one-on-one connection. And something I love about goats, that most people, you don't read about this in any fact book, but just from experience with them, they love to make long eye contact with you. They really, she'll, like, especially Cream, she'll kind of linger there and stare at you, and it's like she's beaming all of her love at you, and like really seeing you. And that's something that's really special with each of these animals, is some of them don't care to really connect with humans, but a lot of them do. A lot of them want that one-on-one intimate connection. And so I feel very blessed. I feel really lucky to have them to kind of, you know, sometimes I'll come here and I'll just need, if I need to cry about something, or if I, you know, just want to check in and make sure everyone's okay. And they'll just, the goats especially, they'll just be there, and just, they're so chill. They love to just hang out, and they want to be with you all the time. And I can't find any of our pigs. Let's see if we can find some piggies. All right.
Oh, and we do have a quick question for you, Cammie, while you're walking over to the pigs. It was from a little bit earlier when we were in the aviary. We had a question come in. How do you do birth control with the birds?
So with the chickens, we just take their eggs. It's too much to try and spay every single one of them. And so we just make sure that their eggs get either fed back to them, or we have a volunteer that takes them to wild care in San Rafael, and then they feed them to the opossums and the raccoons. And then we also feed them to our dogs. And our dogs do eat V-Dog, but they also get eggs sometimes. And this is Princess. And sometimes the pigs eat the eggs too. Yes. So Princess is a classic case of the micro pig trend gone wrong. So we see all over the internet, you know, these micro and mini pigs. We see cute videos of pigs spinning around in circles and doing tricks. And you can even buy little piglets from breeders. And the breeders will often tell you that these pigs are going to stay tiny and cute. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. They can weigh up to 200 pounds depending on the breed of potbelly. And a lot of people just aren't prepared for that. They do not know what they're getting themselves into. And pigs are really smart, but they're different from, and they're a lot like dogs. You know, they can learn tricks. They can learn to sit. They can be potty trained. You can take them for walks, and they love belly rubs. They know their names, all of that. They're extremely intelligent, but they're pigs. They love to root around, and they've got these big shovel-like noses. Princess doesn't love to be touched when she's napping. Sometimes she's okay with it, so we'll just sort of like let her do her thing. They have these noses that love to just dig around and find whatever they can under the dirt. And for some people who have their pigs in their houses, that means they like to dig around the laundry pile or whatever. They will flip bowls and flip furniture just for fun. That's what they do. And people think, okay, that is like too much. You know, this pig is making too much a mess. We'll put him in the backyard. And then they realize that the pig is destroying the backyard, trying to make mud holes and things like that. I know there's a yellow jacket around your ear. It's very annoying. And so this family had some girls that raised Princess, but the girls had to go away to college, and the parents just didn't want to keep her anymore. And so she came here to live here forever. And you know, I think it probably was a little bit sad to be raised in a family with a loving home and have all, you know, all the things you could want out of life. You have a warm bed, you get good food, and you have cuddles and love, and then to just be kind of sent away because you're too much, you know, your owners can't deal with you. I don't know, I can't speak for her, but I think she was probably a little bit lost and confused when she first came here, but she's good now. She's much happier. And she can be a pig. She can root around and she can take naps. And something about pigs is they love taking naps. They will sleep all day, and especially in the winter, they build nests for themselves. So they'll take a bunch of straw or blankets if we have them lying around, and they will go and like, they'll, you know, if there's like a blanket over there, they'll drag it over to the corner and kind of press it and push it the way they want it to be. And I'll show you some of our other pigs who are taking naps over here. And they're just expert nappers. They make their beds fluffy and cozy, just like me. Look at this, her little tongue is sticking out.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, they love to cuddle and like get all bundled up and cozy. And who could blame them? That's like my favorite thing to do. As you can see, he's really nestled in there. And this is Argon. Argon and his two other brothers were raised in a household. Their owner died, and so they came to live with us. And we have our large farm pigs, Gamber and Goober. And they were raised by a high school student who was in a program called Future Farmers of America, FFA. And this program is, it's tragic. It's very sad because a lot of these students who are learning about the agricultural industry, you know, you raise an animal since the time they are, you know, a young piglet or a baby. And then once they are at a marketable size, which is usually a few months old, not even a year old, then they get sent to the county fair where you kind of show them off, and they get judged and you get told you did a good job or not. And then they get sold and sent to the slaughterhouse. And then a lot of times the family will buy them and they'll eat them, or they'll, you know, sell them to some other buyer. And that's a really hard thing to do for a lot of students. And this one high school girl just could not go through with it. She had raised Goober and Gamber since the time they were piglets, and she fell in love with them. They were so smart and adorable. And she had two dogs, and she would take her dogs and these pigs out for walks in the creek behind her house. And they go on hikes and they'd splash around in the creek and they'd play fetch and they'd chase balls and they'd cuddle with her. And she realized that they were no different from her dogs. And she just could not go through with the whole process of taking them to fair and having them killed. So she posted online and said, you know, these pigs are free to a good home. And a lot of times you'll end up with really kind of sketchy people who are looking to professionals that are looking to basically turn the pig into a meal. But we were able to find these pigs just in the nick of time. And because the dad was going to sell them if she didn't get rid of them within, you know, like a week or something. So we brought them here, and they love to take mud baths in the pond. You can see like this line here from where she lays in the pond. And they have other piggy friends. And this is where they're going to live for the rest of their life. You know, they'll never become someone's 3-minute meal, you know, because that's really what it is at the end of the day. It's just, you know, a quick, you know, Sunday brunch of bacon. And it's like, is it really worth it? You know, these are such unique, incredible beings. I would prefer a lifetime of connection with a wonderful pig named Goober, who is just so silly and brings me so much comfort and joy. And all of everyone who visits and volunteers with the sanctuary realizes that, you know, these are incredible individuals who are just so worth getting to know. And why would you waste a life on a meal? So
I completely agree. And I am so glad that Goober and everybody else has ended up in such great care with you all at Rancho Compasión. I really, and I thank you so much. I know how busy you all are. I really wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to introduce us to everybody and tell us their stories. I think it's really so poignant to hear the circumstances that these animals have come from and be able to see how happy they are now and how comfortable, and they're just loving life and enjoying life. And it's really amazing. And I really love, and I've mentioned it a couple of times today during the fundraiser, how cooperative all of our Northern California farmed animal sanctuaries are with each other. I love that it's just this big team. And when disaster strikes, I just love that you can really count on your neighbors and your friends. And I know that that interconnectivity is so important, not only for keeping the animals safe, but keeping the humans safe as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it wasn't our first rodeo, so to speak, with the fire evacuees. I mean, last year we had, 30 goats come and stay with us after some fires, and we're here to do it again if that opportunity, or hopefully that doesn't come up, but if it does come up, we know we can count on the sanctuaries, like Animal Place, for example, because they have a great ability to communicate with all of us, and that's really how we are all able to get on board. And it's just I feel very fortunate that we have such a great camaraderie, and none of us are, we're not competing with each other. We're all trying to do the best we can as far as giving as many animals homes as possible. And it just makes me so happy to see whenever another sanctuary can take in another animal. It's a big win for everyone. And we want to be able to keep doing the work that we do. And we're able to thrive because of donations, but also because of people who help volunteer and help make this place livable for our animals, whether it's just mucking stalls or helping with the feeding or helping with special projects. Like one of our volunteers over there is taking a jackhammer and helping dig a drainage ditch.
I saw a post about that. That's amazing.
We're trying to provide, fresh water. We have a spring up there, but we have to build a well, and we have to gravity feed the water down here to the animals. So, we want to be more self-sustaining, and we're trying to do all these little improvements here and there. And, so every little amount counts. We also want to build a quarantine facility in the event that, we have to take in more evacuees. We just want to do it as best as we can. And so thank you so much for this opportunity. And, this is a lot of fun getting to show all the animals around. They love having their stories told and being petted and getting all the attention. And if you guys want to get in touch with us about volunteering or booking a private tour, or even a virtual tour, something kind of similar to this, for your coworkers or your friends or a birthday party, you can find us online at ranchocompasion.org. That's ranch with an O at the end and compassion with one S.org.
Thank you so much for being a part of the fundraiser today, and we loved meeting everybody. It's been so much fun talking to you. And
this was a blast.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks, and I'm just so grateful that you're able to get the medical care for these animals that they need and deserve, and give them the forever homes that they so desperately need. And it's just, everybody is doing such important work, and we're really happy to help out in any way we can.
Yeah, thank you so much. This really means a lot to us, and can't wait to see all of the other fun events. And we hope that you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Cammie. We'll check in soon.
Alrighty. Bye.